Could the technology behind financial markets help reimagine global commerce? Nasdaq and its CEO, Adena Friedman, believes it can. Founded in 1971, Nasdaq could be considered one of the world's first modern disruptors when it pioneered electronic trading. Now, more than half a century later, Nasdaq has transformed into a technology company serving global financial markets that not only facilitates capital generation, but also offers an array of data, index, information analytics, and technology solutions, from promoting ESG to combating financial crime. Adena is a firm believer that capitalism is a force that can unlock human potential, drive innovation, and create the industries of tomorrow. I sat down with Adena at the company's headquarters in New York's Times Square to talk about her vision for Nasdaq, the concept of responsible capitalism, and why technology and data hold the key for solving some of the world's most pressing problems.
If you ask the average person what Nasdaq is, I think most would say it's a stock exchange. But the company is evolving into much more, into a technology and information services company that also happens to operate an exchange. So how do you view Nasdaq's role in serving the global financial ecosystem of today?
So we are today a global technology company that serves the capital markets around the world, but our markets are our foundation. So if we really think about the founding of Nasdaq, 50 years ago, we were the first electronic stock market. And by building out a really successful stock market, we were able to leg our way into options markets. Then we were able to leg our way into European equities and options markets. So we were able to build out that foundation. And what we realized over the last several years is we have a bigger role to play that we can base our foundation from. So we focus on two themes, transparency and integrity. And we provide a complete suite of technology solutions for market operators and for broker-dealers to help manage the integrity of their interactions with the markets and the integrity of the markets. We actually have expanded that out to really support the integrity of the entire financial system with anti-financial crime technology. And then transparency, making sure our data and analytics are top class, and then also enable workflows. So enable the investment management community to manage their portfolios successfully, and enable corporates to be able to have successful relationships with their investors. So today we offer all of those services, and we sell our technology to 130 other markets.
And where would you say Nasdaq is today along its transformational journey? And as you look out to the Nasdaq of 2035?
Absolutely, we're just getting started, because we've now laid a foundation where we have SaaS-based solutions serving our corporate clients, serving our investment management clients, and serving our broker-dealer clients. We've built our next generation trade lifecycle solution to be a cloud-ready solution for our own markets and for our other exchanges. And so we now have all these foundations laid, and we have the chance to really redefine what are capital markets. So in 2035, I would say that we will be an interconnected cloud-based solutions provider that brings the capital markets together, but still operating locally, but with a common technology underpinning, common connectivity capabilities, a much lower barrier to entry for new participants, and greater access to investors.
You're making investments in a number of areas. The first is financial crime and the rise of fraud and money laundering in a digital era. Nasdaq recently acquired Verafin, and that's a leader in this space. How do you stay one step ahead in this digital arms race?
Well, I think first of all, we have to recognize how big the problem is. So it's about a $3 trillion problem, just in terms of money laundering and other financial crimes. So people use the financial system to perpetrate really terrible crimes, and human trafficking, terrorism, other things that really are incredibly destructive to society. So what we really believe that we're doing is fighting crime by looking at where the financials are going, like where's the money going? So I think that as a result with Verafin, they are unique because they've built themselves as a cloud solution. They have 2,000 clients that use them today. And as a result, they actually have a data pool that allows them to be much more efficient and effective in rooting out fraud and money laundering. We think that that's actually a huge differentiator, particularly with the network they already have. And now we're going to be able to bring that up to the largest banks in the US and globalize their business, because they're really only in North America today.
I want to talk about your career for a moment, because I think you have a terrific story to tell. You started at Nasdaq as an intern, and you're now CEO. Was there a defining role or project earlier on in your career where you saw a vision for where you'd like to take Nasdaq in your career?
I think the role really was running the data business, because I became the head of the data business back in 2000. And we were the first exchange to separate data from trading and to treat data as its own asset, its own opportunity, and to really understand how transparency can really drive the industry, but also drive more flow into the exchanges. So we developed a whole suite of data products, and we helped advance those. And that's the foundation of our investment intelligence business today. I think the second was a project, which was developing the Nasdaq closing cross. So in 2004, the prior CEO, Bob Greifeld, came into Nasdaq, and one of his first projects was to revamp how the market closed. Up until then, we would use the last sale, which was not a great way to serve as the pricing basis for trillions of dollars. So we said, we probably have a better way to do that. So he asked me to run the project to develop an auction that really is what we use today to close the market, to open the market, and to open IPOs. It impacted millions of investors in terms of giving them a better mechanism to a better price, a more accurate price to close the market every day. And frankly, it was a really good project for me in terms of building a trusting relationship with Bob. And on the back of that, he made me head of corporate strategy. So I think it was a defining moment in my career.
At Nasdaq, you have this flywheel effect with a listings franchise and corporate and ESG services. So how do you maximize that opportunity set?
So our job at Nasdaq is to help companies really look at their entire life cycle as a company. And so early stage companies, they raise private capital. But over time, they're going to want to allow those investors to have some liquidity in their stocks. So we have the Nasdaq private market. They develop their boards, and they want to have tools that help them manage their board relationships. But then beyond that, they then become a public company. They really need to have a great relationship with investors. So we provide them with the whole suite of solutions around investor relations and governance as they mature as public companies. And then on top of that, we have the benefit of trading their stock. And we have the benefit of being able to create indexes on the back of the listings that are here, like the Nasdaq 100, the Nasdaq Next Gen 100 are just great index products that give investors access to these companies in a thematic way. So we feel very fortunate because those companies really form the basis of this, as you said, a great flywheel for us.
I want to shift over to the private markets, where we have seen some significant growth and where the lines are blurring between public and private companies. So how do you see that evolving from here, and what role can technology play in helping bring more liquidity into the private markets?
When I think about the balance of public and private capital, they both serve a really, really important role. So private capital comes in and seeds companies, the early, that idea that I just mentioned. The first investors are friends, family, the network of people that you might know, or people, a professional network that comes in and says, that's a really good idea, let me give you some money to give it a try. So that's private capital. That private capital then grows, and you have venture firms and you have private equity firms that really help develop those ideas as private companies. And then the companies get ready to come and have a broader investor base through the public markets. So it's always a balancing act. And I think there are times in a company's life where it's better to be private and times when it's better to be public. So we're a big believer in the balance. So therefore, one of the things we've done is build out the Nasdaq private market to help companies, when they are private, get the right cap table and make it sure they have the right investors in their company for the time that they're in at that moment, right? So their earliest stage investors might want to decide to get liquid in their position, and then they can bring later stage investors in to help them grow and expand and scale their business, for instance. Well, that requires a transfer of ownership. And the Nasdaq private market facilitates that in a much more seamless way than it was before. It used to be, lawyers sitting down and drawing up documents, and then you'd have to have your cap table set in an Excel spreadsheet, and then you'd have to find those documents if you wanted to transfer ownership. We do that all electronically today. And it makes it much more seamless to be a private company, and then makes it much more seamless to get the right investors in as you're ready to go public. So our view is it's all part of the life cycle.
With an increasing number of companies that are focused on technology, do you need to do anything different today in order to win in the talent marketplace and to attract these candidates?
Well, I think the first thing that we find is the most effective way to attract talent and to retain talent is to have a really good mission and purpose. And I do believe that Nasdaq has a great purpose. Our purpose is to champion inclusive growth and prosperity. And I think a lot of people can get their heads around that, bringing more people into a model and giving more people access to opportunity. And we do that whether we're advancing markets and building markets for emerging economies, whether we're making our data more accessible to billions of people today. We have billions of people who can access Nasdaq market data, whether we're building investment strategies that help them express themselves through impact with our index investments, or we're bringing, we're really running our markets and just making them really high integrity and managing down financial crime so that people can feel safer in the system that we operate in. I think all of those themes are really core to our purpose, and that allows us to attract really great talent. So that's the first thing, is having that purpose. I think the second thing is drawing from a global talent pool. So we have more employees outside the U.S. than we have inside the U.S. Today, and we are a truly global business. We have offices in 30 countries. So we can attract talent in lots of different markets that give us access to a much bigger talent pool.
How much responsibility does business have to push social change? And what would you say to those that say business should stay out of the fray?
So I think that many, many companies have recognized that they have a role to play in the societies in which they operate. I am a firm believer that capitalism has the best potential to unlock human potential. It is the best system to allow for a person to come up with a good idea, get funded for that good idea, grow it into a business, hire people, so you employ people, and have an impact on the world with that idea. And it is extremely efficient, and it's an effective way to maximize human opportunity. And I think here in the US and in other countries, we have work to do to really develop the execution of the model, because it is founded on the basis that everyone starts with an equal opportunity. So if everyone starts at an equal place, they all have an opportunity to come up with a good idea, get it funded, and to let it grow. But if we don't have the right starting point, some people get more opportunity than others. And I think that's the system we're in right now. So one thing that I've noticed that the best companies do is they really focus in on, okay, here's our core mission or our purpose, and making sure that their impact that they have is really related to that core purpose or mission. But when you focus in and you say our purpose can advance society, I think that you're going to find that companies can have a huge amount of impact. And I also think that that also is getting rewarded by investors. So it's not really an either or. It's you're going to do well while you do good. And I think that companies that do well while they do good are the ones that are going to get most rewarded by investors, who therefore are going to get most access to capital to grow and expand their businesses. And that means they can have even more impact, as they continue to grow. So it's a really virtuous cycle when you embrace it. But I also would say that it's not an either or, it's an and. And Nasdaq, with our mission of inclusive growth and prosperity, we've really focused in on that in terms of how we've thought about our board diversity initiative, but everything else we're doing across the company.
I want to talk about disruption. Nasdaq could be considered one of the first modern disruptors, but at one point you became an incumbent along that journey. So how do you continue to innovate and disrupt when you're a household name?
So our view, a few things. One is that if we don't disrupt ourselves, someone's going to disrupt us for us. The second, so complacency is the killer of every great company. When you look in history, companies that become complacent and don't continue to change and evolve are the companies that over time, they get disrupted. So we believe that every single day, what are we doing to add value to our clients? What technology trends are here now so that we can understand how to apply them into our business? And then we also talk to our clients all the time. So what problems are they having and what problems can we solve? But what problems are they seeing down the road? And therefore making sure that our solutions stay relevant to them. So between looking at ourselves, individuals, looking at the team, looking at technology, and really, really talking to customers, I think that's what keeps us on the forefront of innovation.
Oh, Adena, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. It's been a real privilege and honor to be with you here today at your headquarters to hear your vision for Nasdaq of the future.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Mike. It's great to be here.